There are so many tech demos in VR, especially on MetaQuest. That doesn't mean they're all just tech demos though. All the games that I'll mention have a story, combat, progression or level up system, medium to huge sized maps, and gameplay length, actual movement that's not auto-scroll or teleport, and boss fights. In other words, no gorillas, no tech demos. Here are the best non-tech demo games in MetaQuest 3 and 3S. Warhammer 40k Battle Sister. You like Warhammer? You like Adeptas Sororitas? Well, this game is for you. A gritty VR shooter set in the Warhammer 40k universe. You play as Sister Ophelia, wielding iconic bolters, chainswords, and lots of cool weapons to battle chaos forces. You're looking for your sister, even though you're not sure if she's still alive. In your adventures, you fight demons and infested Terran-like enemies. Other than guns and swords, you can also use holy powers because you're a nun in this game. Assassin's Creed Nexus. This VR take on Assassin's Creed delivers series staples: parkour, stealth, and open world-like exploration, with a 15 to 20 hour campaign featuring Ezio, Connor, and Cassandra. In this game, there's no magic, teleporting, or anything like that. Just plain assassinations, leap of fate, and badassery. Also, you can throw Connor's tomahawk unlike in AC3, and Cassandra has a hidden blade unlike in Odyssey. Aspire 2. Speaking of stealth games, this is another one, but it's more like Splinter Cell or Metal Gear, which has guns, compared to Assassin's Creed swords and bows. You play as the remote pilot of the robots Cinder and Sooty. Cinder is human-sized, equipped with tranquilizer darts, and is more suited for climbing and combat. Sooty is cat-sized, equipped with noisemaker, and is more suited for getting into enclosed spaces, distracting enemies, and stealth. A group of people formed a criminal organization wanting to destroy AI because it's taken people's jobs. Your mission is to stop the terrorist organization from launching a missile that will kill all AI. Soul Covenant. Do you like the PS Vita game Soul Sacrifice? Well, here is Soul Covenant, the spiritual successor of Soul Sacrifice. The core team that worked on Soul Sacrifice reunited to make this game. To people that never played Soul Sacrifice, I guess you can say it's similar to God Eater. There is a hub where you do everything like upgrade weapons, read lore, etc. and you can get transported into a map each mission. The difference from God Eater, instead of getting new weapons from enemies, you get new weapons from people that died. That's right, you take people's spine, skull, bone marrow, etc. and you make it your weapon. Ruins Magus. A vibrant anime-style RPG. Ruins Magus casts you as a wizard exploring a magical city and its dungeons. Spellcasting mechanics are intuitive, and the story is charming, with strong voice acting. This game is a little similar to Soul Covenant. There's a hub where you do everything, and you get transported to a map for each mission. There's less weapon and more about magic spells, because you're a wizard, Harry. Well, you're more like Vivi, with the hat and everything. Other than the variety of magic spells, there are shields too, and you can use it to parry attacks. There's even a specialized shield for parrying. Breaks faster though. You can also buy potions, grenades, and a temporary use sword. The maps are pretty big as well. Light Brigade. A roguelike shooter with a unique World War II fantasy blend. Light Brigade offers procedurally generated missions, varied classes, and satisfying gunplay. There are classes in this game and you can even pray. That's how you open doors in this game, by praying. Weapon variety is nice. There are dual pistols, SMGs, shotguns, bows, throwing knives, magic spells, and even drones. But most weapons are locked by the class you're using. For example, dual pistols can only be equipped by Pistolier. This is a roguelite that sometimes doesn't feel like a roguelite because the maps are so big. This is also one of the few VR games where the enemies are actually challenging. Dead Hook. Speaking of roguelite with big maps, Dead Hook maps are also pretty big, but you're in a more modern setting, and also way more fast-paced. The movement in this game is awesome. You have chains on each of your hand you can use to move like you're in Attack on Titan. There is no magic, but there are magic-like abilities. And the weapon variety is bigger. You can also play like you're in Mortal Kombat. You have a freezing ability, and once the enemy is frozen, you can do a Sub-Zero move and punch them. They will instantly die. There is a gauge that will be filled every time you kill enemies. Once it's full, you can activate your dual laser blades that can kill mobs quickly. There's also kind of a crafting system. You can mix and match materials you've gathered to make yourself stronger. Tale of Onugo. You've been summoned to another world by a shrine maiden that's tied to a rock. That's right, this is an isekai. She summoned you because her stepbrother took her body parts, her eye, her arm, her leg, and her heart. I promise, this is a wholesome game. This puzzle action adventure blends Japanese mythology as you guide a shrine maiden through a mystical world. The puzzles are clever and the art is gorgeous. You'll be moving puzzles while dodging giant mecha fists flying at you. The story made me cry, so I'm putting it here. The last boss fight is kinda tough too. Dungeons of Eternity. You like dungeon crawling? I know you do. This is really a co-op game, but you can still play solo. Otherwise, my loner ass wouldn't put it here. The setting looks like fantasy, but it's more like sci-fi. You're in Eternity, a planet full of dungeons. Your mission is to conquer the dungeons and collect resources, as well as activate the ancient machines to refuel the dying star. That's what they'll tell you when you first started the game. You get new weapons and armor from schematics. When you get back to your base, you can use those schematics to make equipment. At first, the weapons don't look impressive, but as you progress, you'll get really cool stuff. Iron Man VR. This is the game Camouflage made before Batman Arkham Shadow. What can I say about this game? You are Iron Man. The only time it makes sense to say POV, you're Iron Man. Imagine cosplaying as Iron Man and playing this game, then firing a unibeam. That said, it's more than just that. The weapons and flying mechanics are so intuitive once you get used to it. The story starts when your plane got hijacked by Ghost, a person that has grudged on you back when you're still a weapons dealer. She also stole some of your tech. Tony Stark's tech. That means she's no ordinary criminal. That's why you decided to reactivate an AI assistant that's used to aid you back when you made weapons for war. Gunsmith. Let's just say Gunsmith is too aggressive for your liking. Batman Arkham Shadow. We can't go mentioning Camouflage without their current best game, Batman Arkham Shadow. If in Iron Man VR you're Iron Man, in this game you are Batman. You're Batman. You like the Arkham games? This is an Arkham game, but in VR. Just like Brigade, this is one of the few VR games where the enemies are actually challenging. Combat starts as very restrictive, but once you're used to it, becomes very fluid. This game won VR Game of the Year. Not just that, people who hated it at first because it's a VR game came to like after trying it. That means this game is really good. Until You Fall. A vibrant roguelike hack and slash. Until You Fall blends synthwave aesthetics with intense melee combat. This game has one of the best combat in VR. It's not a waggle fest like most non-physics VR games, but it's also not a wobbly noodle arm sluggish combat like most purely physics-based games. Imagine Batman Arkham Shadow's combat with slightly more freedom. It's hitting that balance while not being too restrictive. I've practiced Eskrima back in the day and the dual wielding feels similar to that. Especially the blocking. The enemies are smart too, depending on the difficulty. They will gang up on you and will hit you from behind if you're not careful. The third on this list that has very challenging enemies. This is also my first VR game, so it's pretty low on the motion sickness factor, I think. This is a fantasy action roguelike with a variety of weapons. Swords, maces, daggers, hammers, amulets, crests, and even katars. Few games have katars. I wish more games have them. Each weapon has a skill like traps, poison, force field, an attack that ignores guard, a sandstorm, energy explosion, stasis, etc. Behemoth. You like Shadow of the Colossus? Do you like Dark Souls? Well then perhaps you'll like this game, O maidenless human. Skydance's dark fantasy game has you slaying towering beasts in treacherous environments with satisfying melee and platforming. This game revolves around the giant monsters called Behemoths. The Behemoths are spreading a curse that gives everyone schizophrenia and chickenpox. Your mission is to kill the Behemoths so you can save your village from being wiped out by the curse. Like Until You Fall, this game has one of the best combat in VR. Also the fourth on this list that has challenging enemies. The human enemies will do feints in this game, like they will pretend to slash on one side, then will switch it up all of a sudden. The Behemoth fights are crazy too. You're just a little speck in the dust compared to the Behemoths. Asgards Wrath 2. You like Zelda? You like God of War? Do you like Skyrim? Or maybe you like Witcher? Imagine them all combined, but made smaller and based on Egyptian mythology with some Norse and Greek. That's Asgards Wrath. I mentioned Behemoth and Until You Fall as one of the best combat in VR, right? Asgards Wrath 2 is the third one, depending on the difficulty. Enemies know how to block in this game and don't think you can just throw your weapons. They will catch it and throw it back at you. That means it's also the fifth game mentioned with challenging enemies. Other than those, this is also one of the biggest game in VR. You get 5 main maps as big as Solstheim, and it has over 100 hours of gameplay. And that's not including the roguelite mode, because it has one. The story is about you being a cosmic guardian. You possess mortals, not just ordinary mortals but heroes. You'll help them fulfill their destinies. You're also looking for Loki, your former master, with the help of Horus and his comrades. There are lots of side quests and mini-games like fishing, the slingshot game, killing a specific enemy or mini-boss, or turning into a monkey and then looking for stuff. There are skill trees, not just for you but for your mount. Yes, there are mounts in this game, and they double as your follower. Each of them has a humanoid form. They turn into that every time you fight. You can also shoot birds and break pots in this game, just like Skyrim and Zelda. This is, as of right now, is my favorite VR game. Notice that these are just the best ones in my opinion. There's probably a game out there that I missed. There's just too many quest games nowadays. That, or I don't think the game is good enough to be listed as the best. Or I simply haven't played the game enough. Like Grimlord, I haven't played enough of that. And Undead Citadel. I also avoided most rhythm games, shooters, and Call of Duty clones because while I play them sometimes, I'm not super into them. I've actually made more videos about these games in this video. Check it out.